Hey everybody, it's August, and this is Eric. And if you listen carefully, yes, that is an all-ukulele cover of the theme from Shaft playing in the background. That's the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain. Look them up. Anyway, since it's still summer, and since everyone is either on vacation or burned their eyes out looking at the eclipse, nice going, we are presenting another rerun. This is our Mojito Show starring Clifton James Weaver, a.k.a. DJ Soft Touch. He was recently profiled in the LA Weekly as one of the greatest soul DJs currently operating in all of space and time, or close to it. So we really like this show, and we hope you do too. Though we know we have no control over what you like, because you are a complicated man, and nobody understands you. But who? Your woman. Okay, yeah, I did it. All right, enjoy the show.
Black Private Dick, who's a hit with all the chicks. Shaft. Yeah, you're damn right.
It's another Army of Drunks Talking Funny podcast, clown car thingamajoob. Our guest is DJ Clifton James Weaver. We are going to be geeking out on soul music and drinking mojitos, so just deal with it and listen now. Remember, the Army of Drunks contains inebriated people talking about horrible things. Please listen responsibly.
From the Meth Western Hotel in beautiful Tiunga, California, it's the Army of Drunks Talking Funny Radio Podcast with your hosts, Chef, Buck Down, Matt Shaw, special guest Katie Massa, and Mixmaster Therm. Let's get ready to mumble.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, guys.
We are in the presidential suite of the Meth Western Hotel.
Did I say presidential suite in the opener?
No.
No. Well...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We know we're all in the presidential suite.
We're living large.
Yeah, so we're balling big.
Yeah. We're balling big, and with us is guest Mr. Clifton James Weaver, a.k.a. DJ Soft Touch. He is, would you call yourself LA's premier funk and soul DJ?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
I'm one of many,
but if not you, then who?
God, that's probably like Cut Chemist or someone like that.
Peanut Butter Wolf?
that.
Is Peanut Butter Wolf L.A.?
Yeah, Peanut Butter Wolf.
Peanut Butter Wolf would
Okay.
probably be...
Okay.
Yeah, if I was
we don't
gonna
need to
call-
talk about who's bigger than our guest, because as far as I'm concerned, there's
You brought it
nobody
up.
He's
bigger
like
than our guest.
7'2".
Yeah.
Like, I'm
yeah.
sure, like, Cut Chemist is no way taller than this guy.
Oh, I know. No,
Yeah.
no, seriously, he could pick up Cut Chemist with one hand
Yeah.
just by the head. Not that he would, because he has professional respect for him.
Right.
Yeah,
But he could pick him up. And,
But yeah, Cut Chemist is not going hard to the rack on this guy.
Yeah,
I'll tell
no.
you right now.
so, but
Not going to happen.
But,
Swatting it into the second row. Just crack.
But our friend Clifton here, and I hope you're okay.
We got
calling
us a
friend.
music show today.
We have a music show. Clifton, by the way, is not only one of the sharpest dressed DJs in LA. He's got standing gigs at Club Underground and the Echo. He is a regular column on the Aquarium Drunkard, which is an amazing website. You should go check out his entries there, because he gives all kinds of
Is it
funk and soul.
aquariumdrunkard.com? What's the link?
aquariumdrunkard.com, and then look for Clifton's Corner.
Okay.
And then I also write for another group called the Punk Aristocrats. I have a blog called Snap, Crackle, and Bop, and a streaming show called Jump and Dance.
All right.
So the point is, he's all over the funk and soul.
He's well-traveled
Busy.
And
on the internet.
here's why we invited Clifton, apart from the fact that we're, you in particular, Buck, are a huge funk aficionado. But it's 2015, and for the past few years, everyone has talked about the song of the summer, right?
That's right.
Then, a couple years ago, you had both Daft Punk and that ass clown, what's his name? Thick.
Alan Thicke?
Yeah, Alan Thicke.
Yeah.
And then I know Pharrell probably did Happy one year, but as far as I can
The
tell,
summer song, you want to just get right into the summer song?
well, no, I'm
Or
just
do we-
I'm just telling
We're
why
going to get into it
yeah,
later.
this is why he's here. Is
Yeah.
that because I feel popular music has failed us this year. And there is no song of the summer. If there is, no one cares. And I feel we should go tap the vaults and
Okay.
probably.
So segment 2, we're gonna have that fight.
Oh yeah, you're gonna come up with your own personal song of the summer before you, dear listener, will have about
4 or 5 suggestions of things that will stick in your head. But we are drinking tonight the Mojito, which has nothing to do with funk or soul music. The Mojito. It's a Cuban thing. But before I get too deep into that, our beloved sport could not make it tonight, and with us is comedian and funny man Katie Massa. I mean, funny woman Katie Massa.
Funny woman.
Yeah.
Hello.
Does anyone call anyone funny woman anymore?
A funny woman? I haven't heard that.
Yeah. Well,
I've heard comedian.
Yeah.
Anne.
As a funny
does that
woman.
fly or no? Is that?
I don't think that. No.
Is that like
I think
the
it's just.
actor
I think it's just
thing, like-
comic now.
Yeah.
Is it like the chicks that want to just be actor, not actress?
I think
Is it
yeah,
like, is
same
it
thing.
one of those things?
Yeah.
Like
The chicks who want to be actors.
Chicks.
The birds.
chicks,
You know.
the dames.
The chicks with the tits.
Skirts.
You know.
How you been, Katie?
Good.
When did skirts
All's
go out
good.
of the modern parlance?
Probably during the feminist era, I'm guessing.
Probably. Yeah.
We will not be
guessing.
defined by what we wear on our pelvises.
You know what, Buck? You don't know because you weren't there.
Yeah, you're right.
You marched, you burned bras in parades in '68 to
But
get the vote.
completely not on purpose.
Yeah.
There was an incident.
Accidentally.
But
And that's how she got fired from Victoria's Secret.
Angel no more.
no more. Yeah, now you're just a burn victim.
Wow, that's you painted a
It went
grim
dark.
Picture.
Yeah,
Painted a really
Went
ugly
dark.
picture.
crashed the car right into the garage there, didn't we?
Oh, should we talk about the drink instead? Because everyone
Yeah.
loves booze.
See if you can
that's-
dig us out of this comedy hole, Eric.
No, can't do it. We're just going to go tragedy for the rest of this segment. So the Mojito.
Yes. Tell us about the
Cuban
Mojito.
drink.
This lovely
You wanna
drink
hear
that we're
about
drinking.
it? Too bad.
Yes, please.
As you know...
Is there any connection at all between why we're doing a funk and soul show and drinking a mojito?
No, only because it's summer. Song of the
Okay.
summer.
So it's just a
Summertime
summer
drink.
It is a
Yeah.
very nice summer drink invented in Cuba. And here's how you
our
make
The
it.
birthplace of funk and soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, the birthplace. I had a drink that was made in Detroit called The Last Word. And it is a great drink. And it is gin and green chartreuse and maraschino liqueur. And already you can tell by everything I'm throwing down, it's a very intense and heavy drink. And you do not want to get loaded on those.
Not a
the
summer
We'd be in a
sweaty
fist fight
summer.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the presidential suite at the Meth Western. Do you
No.
want to get drink on that?
No,
in
they have
Yeah.
they have
summer.
standards
We've
here.
already
Eric.
got holes in the walls in here.
So, the Mojito is basically lime juice, rum, mint leaves, a little bit of sugar, and club soda. And therein lies the magic.
Don't forget the fun.
and fun, and it's chocolate, and just a
I'm
dash
sorry.
of fun.
Yeah. And you know what? You squeeze a fistful of fun over the glass. And then you get a
Which is hard to get out of season.
It pretty much is. And there's different arguments over what the ratios are. There's like some of the lime to rum seems to be the key. There's some that's like a 2-to-1 lime to 4-to-1 rather lime to rum ratio. I always said rhyme to rum ratio, and 4
That's
to
only going to
3.
get worse.
Mixmaster Therm will be coming over here in a moment because he has dialed in the perfect mojito.
I think he has.
Therm, you
Therm
seem
has notes.
Yeah, here's Therm's mathematics
You wanna
right
get in
now.
here and-
Well, Therm actually, you can't see this, but it's amazing because Therm actually has a piece of paper that looks like somebody's keeping score in a Scrabble game on it.
Yeah, I basically looked up like 5 all different recipes. And so I wrote down, figured out the ratios, and kind of got a starting point and tweaked that. So what I ended up with, as far as the ingredient ratios, it was 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice,
Okay.
1 3/4 teaspoons of sugar,
And that's super fine sugar.
superfine sugar,
Oh, yeah.
2 ounces of rum,
Okay.
about 4 mint leaves in the muddling there, and then topping it with 3 to 4 ounces of club soda.
3 to 4 ounces. Would you err on the side of 4 or 3? Would you say?
I think 4 actually.
I'm gonna throw this out there. First of all, you have a professional muddler, right? I mean, you have a muddling tool, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. That's just a side note. You could try muddling more mint leaves in it just for grins, because I saw a recipe that even said like 10 mint leaves per drink, and maybe we'd run out of mint in like 2 minutes. If
Yeah,
you
we
did
would.
that.
I've actually got
Okay.
that ounce there. That one, they didn't use enough rum, so I didn't even consider it.
All right, so
there.
screw those people.
Yeah.
They're chuckleheads.
I don't trust them.
We don't want
Yeah,
them.
it's already not a very boozy drink.
No,
Right.
yeah, but also
It would be. I would imagine it would be hard to get yourself shitty on mojitos.
well,
Yeah.
you're right. But by the way, when it comes to muddlers, the muddler, shittiest Batman villain ever. Always turned up the bank without really a plan.
Yeah.
Figured he'd sort of make his way through it. And
It's all, yeah. He came up with that first idea and then no follow through.
yeah, he sort of muddled it. But, so it's hard to get shit in there, but this was one of Hemingway's favorite drinks,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Can I just say something just
No.
to
Yes.
paint because
Paint a
they don't
picture?
have a visual, your listeners. That piece of paper that Therm just brought out looked like some beautiful mind shit.
Yeah.
Like
it did. It
like,
looked like,
like,
did it not look?
like it like post psychotic break.
Yeah,
beautiful
no,
mind.
it's like it's a series of columns of numbers. Some of them are circled.
Yep, and you ever see that movie Pi? I think Therm may be on the verge of breaking the code.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, of
We should
reality.
scan it. Save that thing and scan it. Hopefully that'll be on the website. I think it gives the listeners a lot of insight into.
Maybe a little
I
bit
think you're
more
right.
than they'd be comfortable with, I think, to be honest.
You don't want to gaze into the mind of Therm because
No.
it will gaze back. So, all
Which would
right.
be really good at making cocktails.
Yep.
So you know how like a lot of drinks they are like a lot of people try to claim credit for it. Well, no one actually claims credit for this one because it goes back so damn far. There are those who say the mojito dates back to the 16th century and was called the Drake after Sir Francis Drake and was originally created as a cure for dysentery. Sir Francis Drake was sailing to the New World to probably, steal some people's money or gold or whatever the hell those people did back then. And,
Pretty much just that.
Pretty much just that. Let's go to the New World and mess things up. So back then there was, it was even pre-rum days, but there's stuff called aguardiente de caña. I don't know, whatever it is, a cane liquor that they mixed with
Which is
local
basically
herbs.
all rum
Basically
is.
rum. Yeah.
Cane liquor that they mixed
They
with.
just didn't have a word for it yet.
It was too abstract a concept. And they mixed it with local herbs, and they mixed it with stuff, and it became, and lime, citrus, and it became a cure for dysentery and scurvy.
Okay.
And so called the Drake or El Draque, I guess, in Spanish, which I don't speak, obviously, or I
Clearly.
wouldn't have butchered that. It then came back. The first reference to it became very popular in Havana during Prohibition.
Surprise!
Surprise!
There was a prohibition in Havana.
What? No, during
During
Prohibition.
our prohibition.
Our prohibition, people would
Just go
get
to
on boats in
Havana.
Florida and go over to Havana
Oh,
to
I
get
guess
loaded.
that's pre
Wouldn't you?
Cold War. So you could just bounce over there and drink.
But long story short, the first actual instance of it in print comes from like a cocktail pamphlet from Sloppy Joe's bar in Havana in 1931.
Everything about that sentence was awesome.
I know, right?
Pamphlet, starting with the word pamphlet.
Pamphlet,
Yeah.
free pamphlet.
Yeah.
And then Hemingway
Bookbindery
himself.
had not come along yet.
Nope. Hemingway himself is famous for drinking them in a bar called La. Christ.
Ah!
God damn it! I am so not Spanish.
Just make one up. Make
Yeah.
something up.
Yeah,
La-
it's funnier if you just like.
Katie briefed me in this
I
too.
did. I
Wait,
briefed
say
him.
It. La Bodeguita.
Gita.
La Bodeguita.
Bodeguita.
He drank his mojito in La Bodeguita and his daiquiri, a real daiquiri, in El Floridita. So
Did they have pamphlets there?
they had pamphlets out
Here's
the
this
ass.
flyer.
Yeah.
La Bodeguita
If you
is
save up
Spanish for Planned Parenthood.
Yeah. You save up enough of these flyers, you can make your own book.
Yeah.
That's right. Your very own.
That's what Hemingway did. Is he collected a bunch of flyers, stapled them together, and got Old Man in the Sea.
Go. There, I made a book.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm a big famous writer. I think actually it was different. So
I might not have that right.
no, but these days mojitos are
Supposed to eat
popular
the
again.
leaves?
No, you don't eat
No,
the
I don't
mint.
think
Well, you
so.
can.
Oh,
Go
too
ahead.
late.
Oh, you
Tell
did?
you what.
Did you?
I hear if you eat the mint, you'll see Hemingway in your vision.
No, that's bullshit because I don't see shit.
Mojitos got very popular again in the last decade, and here's the thing: bartenders fucking hate them because it is a hugely labor-intensive drink.
Yeah.
How y'all enjoying your mojitos?
I've already
Tasty.
enjoyed mine.
Yeah, I
tasty.
enjoyed mine right down to the bottom.
I've enjoyed the fuck out of mine, and I'm staring at a big wad of mint leaves.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
You should just
you
put
chew them. You know what? You chew them like the Incans did.
either that or just a pinch between your cheek and gum.
Yeah, no, it'll help you climb a mountain or something.
And then if I get
That's the cocoa leaf.
will I see Quetzalcoatl?
Yeah,
I'll see Mojitzacatl at the top of the
Yeah.
god of the mojito.
yeah. Maybe it's different. You chew
He's
the
like
mint
got a
leaves and you can row the shit out of a boat or something.
He's got a serpent body and a lime for a head.
Yeah.
And anyone who sees him will either become emperor or die the next day
go
or get
insane.
really drunk.
Yeah. Or 2 more weeks of winter.
All of those things are true. So, hey, I think that wraps up our first segment, unless anyone has anything they want to add.
Anything else to add
Katie,
about
you
the
doing a
drinks?
gig anywhere?
Oh my gosh!
gonna be in the
everywhere.
gig.
Plugging shit.
Yeah, let's plug shit.
Oh, you're gonna love this.
Okay.
I'm doing a show at a place called the Clown House.
There's a real place called the Clown House?
Yep.
Now,
Do
where
they
is
let-
that at?
Where is that?
It's downtown.
Do they let
Downtown LA.
non-clowns in?
Yeah, but there are lots of clowns everywhere.
Clown House. That's because we were doing a thing for a while. Like at the end of the show, we were just plugging like fake shows at like
and Clown House seems like
Chortle
something we
Hole
would have made up.
And like the comedy.
Clifton,
Pocket
you
or
ever,
this is
have you
real.
ever played the Clown House?
I have never heard of the Clown House.
So what you're saying is Katie's probably making it up.
Could be.
We're already in the A segment and we're plugging fake
All
shows.
right, never mind.
Going to be down at the Chuckle Bunker this Saturday.
And I'm going to be in the Chortle Hole in Cleveland, Ohio.
I know the Clown Room, but not the
Yeah.
Clown
Everyone
House.
knows Jumbo's Clown Room.
Is that really where you? It was the
is
clown
it
room,
Jumbo's?
wasn't it? And then you started saying it and changing it.
All right.
Katie will be spinning
Working
around
that
the pole
pole.
making jokes at the clown room.
We are
For
going to
rent.
we're going to take a break here. We're going to go mojito the shit out of ourselves while we're breaking.
Mojito it up.
And you, all
The
of you.
mojito's on.
Yeah. Fuck you! Fuck you!
Wait till
down.
we get to the C segment. Damn it! I'm like Chewy with like a bandolier of mojito jokes.
The mojito's on. So stay tuned through these ads. We will be right back.
We have to
All
go
right.
to a break after that. We'll see you in a bit.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Where you been? Well, it wasn't easy getting tickets for this game.
Hey, Bob.
Eddie, I know exactly what I want. I want the biggest steak you've got and a bottle of Lowenbrow. Steak and Lowenbrow.
Let it be
Dolan,
Brown.
you're a genius.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Here's to the chef. Here's to the bartender.
Howdy, partner. It's your good buddy Buck Down here. Look, we all make mistakes. It's part of the game. But did you know you could wash off the effects of some of that bad decision making with just soap and water? Outlaw soaps are handcrafted right here in California, can replace the stench of shame and regret with rich, earthy goodness like sage, lavender, or pine. Hell, they even got bacon, coffee, or fire soap. That's right, you can smell like a fucking fire. Do you already smell like whiskey? Do you want to smell more like whiskey? Fuck yeah, you do, because they got whiskey soap too. Go to outlawtradingco.com right now and check out their full line of soaps, lip balms, and lotions. That's www.outlawtradingco.com. Outlaw Soaps. Make a clean getaway.
And we are back.
Hey,
got ice
buddy.
cream.
Let's go back. We got ice this time.
Oh, he added ice, and he had to step. And I
The ice,
because I was going to say I commend you for stepping over all the hookers to get to the ice machine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. The hallway here is a nightmare
I know.
at the Meth Western.
The Meth Western, though, you're not going to find a better deal.
Yeah, it's the only
No,
hotel
it's-
I've ever been on where this many people have knocked on the door.
Not sure what they want.
It's true. I've stayed at like other
I don't think
shitty hotels.
I don't think they do either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
no, they
you open
don't.
the door and you just get kind of a confused stare for a little while, and then they wander off.
Like, oh,
so
you're not Mad Dog, and then they leave.
Yeah,
so.
people. A lot more interaction goes on at the Meth Western.
it's a friendly place.
Yeah. What
Very
you doing
friendly.
in there?
Let's check it. Yeah,
So Clifton,
Guy with a half-open bathrobe. What you doing?
and it's just the bottom half. So hey, Clifton,
Which is a
On that
perfect
note-
setup for our guest.
how the hell are you?
I'm great.
Glad to have you here.
Enjoying this mojito.
Yeah, we want to ask you a little bit. He's our guest, and so you have been a DJ for how long now? Like 2 million years?
It feels that way. About 15 years, I think. I've been DJing.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, actually,
As
I
a
was in a
kid.
band, and we had a residency at this club, and the promoter / DJ of the club didn't want to actually DJ until he felt there were enough people
Right.
in the club. And I told him, well, people are going to walk in and there's not going to be any music playing.
And they're going to bounce.
They're going to look in the DJ booth and there's not going to be anyone in the DJ booth and they're going to leave. And I wanted there to be people there to see my band. So I said, well, next week, would you mind if I brought records and I'll DJ? I had no clue what I was doing, but I just got some records together and just kind of figured it out.
What kind of stuff were you doing? Because the word DJ apparently means something different now.
Well, it means different things, different people.
Yeah, I think that the crossover point happened somewhere in the 90s when being a DJ was no longer just putting on records, but you had to beat match them. And I think that that's like one of the big distinctions that people make when at this point, when they go do DJ, is are you a selector DJ, which is you just go and you pick good songs like the way God intended, or do you have to make everything key and beat specific so that you're just stuck at 1 BPM the entire show?
So what did you
what type were you doing at that point? Were you?
Well, at that point, I was just playing records. I just wanted
smashing one into the other.
Yeah, train wrecking everything, and I just wanted to make sure there was sound
and a human responsible for it,
and people would walk in and see someone in the DJ booth flipping records over to know that something was going on, and hoping that they would just stick around and see my band.
But now here you are, 15 years later.
Yeah. With the main night I do Saturday, Funky Soul Saturday nights at the Echo, we've had some pretty big nights. And
are you upstairs or downstairs?
Well, we're usually upstairs at the Echo, but on some nights we'll be downstairs at the Echoplex. Like on our anniversary parties. Our anniversary parties are usually pretty big, so we'll do it downstairs in the Echoplex.
That's a great bar.
We'll get like 800 to 1,000 people in, and it always amazes me because we're not playing anything really commercial or. We're playing like, sometimes pretty scratchy 45s and people are still...
Well, so what is it, though, about the scratchy 45? I mean, so much of funk and soul and all that stuff was on vinyl, and that's how everyone understood it, and that's how everyone experienced it. And now everyone, I think, nostalgizes that. But it almost feels like there is something a little bit more romantic about that kind of music. No,
well,
I'm totally
I kind of think there's like a... I think for a certain group of people, and
hipster assholes like myself.
Well, I've noticed lately there's like some people that are buying 45s just to say they have it on a 45. When I first started DJing, at the time I didn't know anything about record collecting or records, and a good friend of mine who is still a pretty heavy record collector, I asked him, what was the point of buying things on 45s, and he explained it to me like a lot of times there's alternate takes on the 45 that were just made for like that particular single. Also, 45s tend to be mastered louder. Really? So you hear more of the instruments and things in the song than you would hear it like on an LP cut.
Some of that is a mechanical process.
So
actually.
That's why you have like older DJs, they look for things on 45 because they know it's going to be louder, it's going to sound better, it's possibly going to be a different take. Whereas now, I think a lot of people, because of like the quote unquote vinyl revival, are just buying it on 45 just to say they have it on 45. And a lot of times, I've noticed some people are such a purist about it being on 45 that they'll not get an LP where it sounds better on the LP because they want to be able to say, "Oh, I have it on 45."
I think it's an aesthetic thing. I think that part of what you're talking about is a mechanical process because the higher the RPMs are, the higher resolution, the way vinyl work was, and
that was what they used. That was the bit rate of the.
Yeah, that was the bit rate of its time.
Yeah.
It literally was. And with 45s, you're talking about putting a lot less information on a more geographically larger thing. Right. So they did sound better. You're right. They did master and they could master louder. What's interesting, like, because I collect like super rare stuff, there's probably only 300 of these things.
Yeah.
Because there was an arc of music in particular, like in the late 60s, where you had a lot of guys that would, they just worked together at like the gas company or something, and you'd have like the little record plant that you could go down and you could crank a 45 out. And there's like a bunch of some of the best soul and funk this country has ever produced have been by guys that were just like, they all worked together and they got together and they knocked out one or two of these. And maybe there was some tiny label that maybe did a few hundred pressing, but all that stuff's out there now in MP3 form. And what's cool is like even with like shitty MP3 compression, that stuff, like the coolness of the vinyl, you can still hear.
Yeah, to be fair too, to you, you also only will buy a record that you can put your penis through the hole in the center. Yeah.
Well, that's going to limit you.
For medical reasons.
Yeah.
It's a thing. We probably shouldn't get into it at this.
Is it more fun to DJ with vinyl? You kind of play with
I mean,
a little more.
for me, I prefer vinyl. I prefer using vinyl. I actually like kind of.
It's a tactile.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tactile.
The
There's more to do.
sensation of like picking up the actual record and looking at the covers. And I think I've done it for so long now that I can look at particular record, like either the covers or the labels, and I know what it's going to sound like, and I know what songs will go with that song. Mm-hmm. Whereas like if I'm looking at just like the list of songs on the screen, I have no clue.
What have you got? If we're searching for a song of the summer, and we're going to go back several decades? Do you have a suggestion here?
Actually, this is a new song.
Okay, we'll take it.
It sounds several decades old, but this is one of my songs of this summer. It's by an artist named Curtis Harding.
Okay,
it's on Burger Records, and this song's called "Keep on Shining."
And this is available.
Burger Records on his album Soul Power. Curtis Harding.
Going to start talking over it because we may run into copyright problems if we play a whole song.
That was amazing. So what's set that back? Who is that again?
That's Curtis Harding, newer artist on Burger Records,
and available in your iTunes and also your Amazon. And if we plug it,
don't sue us. We plugged your damn record.
Go out and buy it right now. Yeah. That really sounds like it could have been recorded in the '60s. And
it reminded me a lot of Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah.
On up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, you're exact. Yeah, bingo. Good call. Yeah, it's funny how there's been a revival. Like everything like down Daptone, for example, is a great example because they have a studio. Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, they've got a studio, and Bosco Mann, the bass player, does a lot of production. He wrote like this amazing treatise called "Shitty is Pretty" that everybody should Google, which it talks a lot about this style of production, like how just don't do things. You want to make it sound like that, like get a crappy. Radio Shack mic and hang it over the drum.
Yeah, and actually, this is actually one of the better sound, like on the, in terms of like retro soul, it's kind of like got the fidelity's higher than a lot of the other stuff. But I totally know what you mean, like especially with the early Daptone stuff. Yeah. It was a really kind of raw sound.
Yeah, that was it the studio in Brooklyn, which
the House of Soul.
House of Soul.
What made you decide to you've basically built your life around music? Like why didn't you get a regular job like a normal person would have?
I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I've had regular 9-to-5 jobs. It was never really my goal though to have like a 9-to-5 job. I always, in some way, shape, or form, wanted to be involved in music. I've played in bands.
It wasn't your jam.
Exactly. I haven't had to have a regular job for a while, so
and
I feel very fortunate.
That up the rest of your life if you can pull that off.
If I can, yeah.
How old are you now?
He doesn't have to answer that.
Old.
No,
you're probably not older than us.
The thing is, you look like you could be either 23.
He's either 23 or 46.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're extremely well dressed, and as we said earlier, about 7 feet tall.
Yeah, 7'2". He's got like the 7'5" wingspan.
Yeah. And hands the size of dinner plates. No, he's a regular sized man.
So
we've been
watch
joking
the fuck
about all
out,
that.
Cut Chemist.
Yeah. Cut Chemist has got seriously when he sees that 7 foot guy come.
I have nothing to do with this cut.
So actually, no, seriously, how old are you?
40.
40. Okay. So you know where you are right now? You're at the mat. You just cleared the wall. At this point, no one is going to expect you to work a real job. Like, that's the beautiful thing. If you can make music for a living, if you can get through from like 20 to 40 and mostly just do music and not do another job, the good news and the bad news is, guess what? You're totally unemployable now outside of
That's
this.
that's what I figured. I figured out that
It's awesome. You're free. You're home free from here.
I'll never be in a cubicle for the rest of my life.
You're not gonna.
You're not missing anything.
That's the one of the beautiful things about Los Angeles is if you can do that, if you can stay here and keep enough gigs going to not like get booted out of a place. By the time you hit 40, then they go, yeah, that's pretty much you're in.
That's what you do.
Like,
That's what you do.
They'll
Yeah.
let you
straight.
slide. Yeah. So, okay, pull for us a track. Maybe, do you have anything in there that's maybe something from your youth that was like, when you heard that, you're like, this is one of the things that maybe pushed you into a life of music? Which I know is a tall thing to pull out of my ass right now to ask you to do, but...
Actually,
He's got
it's
a lot
not.
of room in his
It's
butt.
not?
It's not at all.
All right.
So I was talking about the Curtis Harding "Keep on Shining."
Yeah.
Sounding like Curtis Mayfield's "Move on Up," and that for me was one of the songs that I heard it and just kind of like completely like, you know, like I could feel my brain melt inside my head and start oozing out my ears because I was like, oh my god, what is this?
Like that moment in the jerk
right.
where it's like, there must be more music like this, but
It was.
with black
Let's-
music instead.
Exactly. I was like, I never really heard anything like that before in my life, and just yeah.
Let's hear it.
Might be
There it is.
Oh, yep.
Yep, I know this.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to interject and say, it's okay for us to talk over this
Totally.
because we can't let it go for too long.
Anyway,
So we
Kanye
can-
West grabbed this for Testify, didn't he?
Kiss the Sky.
Oh, Kiss the Sky.
Yeah.
But there's something about that those drums over with the horns, which are so smooth, and then those drums
yeah.
are just so driving and just
Yeah, like those two snare drum heads in the beginning, and like when the horns come in.
Well, and you know, like the other thing that was going on, like strings, like when Isaac Hayes and them like started to get, there was like an arc of this music where like the big string arrangements started coming in.
Yeah.
how much of that is because it was the film music? Do you think?
Well, I know with Isaac Hayes, he had gotten really into Burt Bacharach.
Right.
Really?
That was like his big influence, like, you know, later on, you know, which is why he covered, you know, Walk On By. I feel like there's a couple other Burt
Did not
Bacharach
know
songs that
that.
he did. That,
Not surprising though. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh yeah, I can see that.
That makes sense, yeah.
He didn't do "I'm Never Gonna Fall in Love Again," did he?
Or
Do You Know the Way to San Jose? Because I couldn't. I don't know if I could listen to Isaac Hayes singing "Do You Know the Way
No,
to
that
San
wouldn't
Jose."
that wouldn't work.
I don't think he did that, but
Okay.
yeah, I know he was really influenced by
It's yeah. Sorry, go ahead. By
yeah.
Burt.
yeah.
It's just amazing. I mean, just that whole scene that came out of during that time was it seems like a slow empowerment of the artist.
Yeah, there's a transition that happens with music. It starts happening in the 50s where, you know, because what you had before, and in a way we've kind of come back to that, where the artist was an individual and the label would come in and get guys to write the songs and session guys would come in. And that was all the way up. Stax and Motown was still doing that because you had like the Funk Brothers and you know, like people like the Wrecking Crew would come in, and you would just have labels were really about finding an individual artist and then sort of building the brand underneath it. And then you, at the same time, you had like when Sun Records started emerging and the concept of the small band and the combo started happening. And then you did have, like, it started taking off in the 60s where you could just be a band.
Right.
And the band sort of, like the Beatles happened and the Stones happened.
It
and
was
then,
artists on labels before.
where the band became a thing rather than the person. And you still had people like throughout the 60s and the 70s,
Right.
there were individual artists and composers and things like that. But I think when you look at what it was like, think of somebody like Marvin Gaye or Isaac Hayes was bringing a lot more to the table than, say, Diana Ross was, or, you know, some of these other people.
Is that because she's a woman? Is that what you're saying? That's
no,
not cool,
she just
man.
wasn't composing.
I resent that as your token woman.
I could, you know, there are dudes whose names you could throw out there in the same way, but I think it was a system that was in place to create pop stars.
Right.
But that stopped. There was like a gap of time in the late 60s and 70s where it did it did become much more the musicians started taking over.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've kind of come full circle because
Right.
now we're back to an individual artist, it's not Bruno Mars's band, it's Bruno Mars, or it's not Taylor Swift and the whatever
and
is
the
Taylor
Pips.
Swift. You don't know anybody in her band. She probably won't have the same people in the band between two tours.
Right. Well, I mean, there was always sort of a place for that. Like Madonna, like no one knows Madonna, or when Rod Stewart, like no one knows Rod Stewart's band, and
Small Faces.
No, that was before he was Rod, though. Anyway, I'm going to cut all that.
Rod the
Remember
Mod.
when everybody did they have this
right.
at your school with the Rod Stewart rumor that
Oh, yeah.
he almost died from the stomach full of cum?
No, and that's
I heard
a
that
mystery
about George
because
Michael.
Yeah, I heard about.
Did
Elton
that
John.
move?
No, but
Isn't
that-
it's like-
I heard Rod Stewart.
It was Rod Stewart.
It was Rod
No,
Stewart.
but the
in my
crazy
school.
I
thing
heard
is
that about
that's-
gerbil.
That's pre-internet. That's
It's pre-internet.
pre-internet rumors, but people in high schools and grade schools all around the country
Pass those around.
Their when they went and saw their cousins over the summer, they heard this story. But there's a few of those
Right.
weird. Yeah,
That Rod Stewart, I heard, almost died because his stomach was full of Elton John's cum. Is what I heard.
I think Elton John was in there.
Yeah, no, but here's what is this is why this is not believable. If your stomach was full of Elton John's cum, it would give you superpowers. I hear.
Well,
I'm pretty
and it would
sure.
also suggest
Because
you can look that up.
It's those glasses that he wears are actually radioactive, and he can climb walls
And-
faster than Spider-Man.
You're doing a Cyclops kind of
And-
thing,
yeah.
right?
and that Elton John's rate of emission is faster than your digestive process.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the two of you is biologically an anomaly.
You know, I
Right, no,
think
both. It becomes this
It could
weird
be either,
symbiotic.
or you meet halfway. Either way, you halfway.
I think we-
Either
I
way,
think
that
we-
was a long, freaky
Matt,
weekend.
I think we
Sorry,
may have
Matt, go ahead.
I think we may have gone off on a tangent. Here.
I'm sorry. I'm very
Just slightly.
All right, so we flash back to when you're like 20 and you heard that on the dance floor, and there must be more like this. What do you think is your next milestone song, or just something else you think we ought to damn hear? Because I know I'm asking you to dig deep into your subconscious here.
Well, it would probably be something from New Orleans.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, actually, New Orleans is kind of like the birthplace of funk.
Yeah.
You have groups like the Meters, but also there's a really specific rhythm to New Orleans. The second line is a really specific kind of drum rhythm, and that when it got applied to R&B, it kind of formed the basis of what is considered funk, the kind of syncopation to the second line rhythm. Well, this song for me, it's quintessential New Orleans kind of feel. Okay. And it's this artist named Eddie Bo, who's also a big producer of a lot of New Orleans R&B, early rock and roll stuff, and also funk later on. And I think this might have the Meters as the backing band. It's a song called Check Your Bucket. It was another one of those songs where I heard it and I was just like, oh my God, what is this? And at this point I was buying records and I was buying 45s, and it was like one of the first 45s where I wanted it so much. I went over a certain amount.
You're saying you busted your record budget for Check Your Bucket?
It was the first kind of 45 I bought where it was at
mini bar prices.
Yeah, it was kind of it's now I look at it, I'm like, oh, I've spent way more money on 45s now. But
What's the most you've ever spent on a 45?
I'm nowhere near as bad as some people I know. I know people who've spent thousands of dollars on 45s.
Whoa.
The most I've spent is 300.
Okay.
Okay, still.
That still stings.
Yeah.
Still stings for two songs.
$300 will get you 4 nights in the presidential suite.
Yeah,
Suite.
I think we blocked this place out for the next 2 weeks for less than that. We're just here till the whole thing cools off.
I got a whole U2 album digitally for free recently.
It just
Didn't everyone?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, you did?
All right, so let's hear
chuck
the
in a
song.
U2
This
song.
is Check Your Bucket by
Eddie
Take a
Bo.
bucket.
I love it already, though.
Check your bucket. Check your bucket. Check your bucket.
Oh, that is really good.
Yeah.
Check your bucket. Tell me. Got a full bucket. A good bucket. A sure enough bucket. A whole bucket. Tell me.
That's just the truth right there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how you can
All right, I think we got to fade it out before we have to pay money.
Yeah, it could
No.
be.
Okay, now let's back
that
it.
could be the meters.
Guys, yeah, you
That
gotta
could be
look
the
all of this
Meters
up.
are backing him.
Sounds like
Yeah.
Check your bucket by say his name because I'm
By
drunk.
Eddie Bo.
Eddie Bo.
So
How do you
what
spell
year was
Bo?
that? What year was
B.O.
What?
What? Outrageous.
Shortened version of his last name, which was Bo Cage.
All right.
So what do you?
That's
Okay,
just Bo.
like so. How much? Like, because there definitely is, like, as far as the funk goes, we sort of like made a very compelling case for New Orleans, which is good because I don't hear that one as much. But obviously, like, Ohio in the Midwest had like a whole nother thing.
Oh, yeah.
And like, where do you see those two overlapping or separating? You know, because you had like.
Well, I think like the guys in Ohio were really influenced by what James Brown was
In
doing.
Detroit, you think it's more Motown?
Not so much
spilling
Motown,
over?
probably more James Brown. Because,
Right.
you know, James Brown, his big influences were Little Richard,
Right.
who recorded in New Orleans.
Are you familiar with all that series that was coming off? It's like a sub-label on Stone's Throw where they were doing it by region.
Oh, Now Again Records?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they were doing like the mid. I got all of those, dude.
Oh,
Like-
yeah. I was
like-
just looking at that, like the Midwest one, the funk from Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
I would like to say
Yes.
that I think I'm confused because I think
Okay.
being a DJ sounds great. Yet when I go down Cahuenga, all the billboards for the Las Vegas DJs, the pictures of those guys, they look like they're saying, "We take having fun." We
Very seriously.
Yeah, you know it's funny.
You broke up in the middle of your bit. Wait.
we take having fun really fucking serious.
Well, and you know what? That culture. You know what those guys are?
What?
The next wave of magicians. You know, like, you know what it is in
Okay.
Vegas?
Wow.
How, like,
That's
there was
it.
Danny Gans. Like, a guy
Yeah.
like Danny Gans. Like, who the fuck is Danny Gans? You go into Vegas, and his face is plastered everywhere. And
Yep.
he's got
Oh,
some
yeah.
shitty
Right.
fucking
He owns that
magic
town.
shows. So he
Yeah.
owns it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if he leaves
Vegas
it-
swings from the nuts of Danny Gans.
Yeah, Vegas swings
Yep.
from the nuts of Danny Gans. If Danny Gans was to go as far as Prim, like, he would snap out of existence. Like, he doesn't, like, there's something specific about that world. Like,
He can never leave, yeah.
And like, there's a bunch of guys like that. There's acts all over Vegas that were like that. But like,
Carrot
Vegas
Top.
Vegas turned a corner recently. Probably in the last 10 to 15 years,
Holy
when
shit.
they realized there was
Dude.
a generational shift.
No,
the
DJs.
kids from LA.
No, they're
coming
into
out there.
dance clubs now.
So
They're into, like-
every fucking venue had to throw in Rain
No.
or
yeah, so these
Blowjob
DJs
or,
being
like,
super
Yeah.
douchey
some
is
weird-
Vegas
and-
specific.
yeah, Hassan.
Here's
and then
what
they
we've
gotta
stumbled
go out.
off.
Hold on, let me finish the point because this
well, I know the
fuck these
point.
people.
I agree with you. I was actually just in Vegas last
Yeah.
weekend, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I never thought of it as like they're the new generation
They
of
are.
magicians.
They're
but
the
they
new
are.
close magic. They're the new close magic
But
of
here's
Vegas.
the thing. Here's what we've stumbled across here. Okay, just like Danny Gans cannot leave the borders of Las Vegas without shriveling into a husk and blowing away in the desert. Just now, Carrot Top, right? Unemployable outside of Vegas. In fact, no one's seen him outside of Vegas for
Right.
at least 12 and a half years. And
Yep.
meanwhile, he's become this very strange
He's
roid
shriveled
creature.
into like this weird,
Right,
roid thing.
he's like a human scrotum or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Vegas has claimed another genre of people. They have now claimed the DJs too.
superstar DJs.
Yeah, they can't
Yeah.
leave either.
They can't leave.
Yeah,
and
well,
there's
they-
no
Vegas
reason.
only survives if it can claim people who want like a really bad Outer Limits episode.
Right.
No, these people can never leave Vegas.
Well, and Vegas has always had its own rules of show business.
Yeah.
Like, just because you are good anywhere else doesn't mean you're going to get work in Vegas. And conversely, just because you're working in Vegas doesn't mean you're going to work anywhere
Nope.
else.
But
the thing is, all these clubs now exist. And that's what I think what happened is there's just a generational shift. Like are the D-bags, you know, the Axe body spray set just spilling down the 15, you know, don't want to go see any more Cirque du Soleil shows. They want to do bumps of blow in the bathroom and see what's the Hassan.
Yeah, 'cause you're
the-
not gonna-
you know,
You're not gonna
spend
pick up a girl at-
boatloads of dough. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's the
and
thing.
these
Those
guys are
DJs
getting
are
paid-
they have no reason to leave. Carrot Top is doing 6 sold out shows a week every week.
Yeah, but there's just like superstar D-bag big room DJs that like the music is terrible. Fuck those guys.
In conclusion, yes.
in conclusion,
I said that all the way down the 15 when I was coming back from Vegas.
Yeah, I'm sure I
those
guarantee
guys,
you
fuck those
did.
guys, fuck
Like it's where
they're-
music, like
yeah.
it's music is being butt raped out there.
That's got to. Yeah.
I think I may have a plan for you to get.
Can we get
huge
a
in
palate
Vegas.
cleanser?
But can we cleanse the palate here? Do you have something that you think would really?
Yeah, actually, this was like a private press Jamaican record made in Canada. This is a group called Get On Up with Dancer, and they did like a reggae version of James Brown's Sex Machine.
All right,
It's like the
let's hear it.
United Colors of Benetton track.
Hey man, I won't get up here and do my thing. Yeah. I mean, can I get into it? Yeah. Count it out, Yeah. Doing it. Yeah. Grooving it. Yeah. Getting it on, getting it down like a sex machine. Right. Can you dig it, man? Yeah. Can you dig it? Yeah. Give me count it out. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get on. Get on. Getting a scene. Get on. I like a sex machine. Get on.
This is a groove you hear a lot. Like from
Well, there's no beat in this bass line. This bass line is just ingrained in the psyche of America.
Yeah.
Just
getting a lot of mileage out of that E9 chord.
Yeah. Well,
There's a story, and I think this is it may be apocryphal. I've heard this one a couple times, but it used to be like the audition, I guess, to play guitar in James Brown's band. There's 2 questions. Can you play an E9 chord? Second question, how long?
I heard about an interview with James Brown where he said at one point that he just started approaching all of his music as percussion, as sort of an experiment.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why that is
the drums
the way
are
it is.
percussion, the bass is percussion, the vocals
I saw one
are
of his
percussion.
last shows.
The thing. And what I love about that track too is that the way James Brown's classic patter, can we get all that stuff at the beginning, is now actually, if you're covering that song, those are the lyrics. You have to do that at the beginning.
Yeah, that's not a vamp anymore. That's the written part.
Yeah.
Still
I saw
killing.
him back in 2000, 2001, played at the Grove in Orange.
Yeah.
And I got to the show late. I got to the show an hour late, and he still played for another 2 hours. So he had done like a 3-hour show.
Oh my God.
No, Mr. Please don't do a 90-minute
Yeah.
set.
And he was actually on stage all 3 hours. Like,
hardest working man in show
Yeah.
business. How much do you think, like modern music, like, is James Brown the pivotal figure? Would you say, or is that just that's?
I mean,
is that
definitely
too
one
short?
of the pivotal figures.
Is it
I
too
mean,
easy to say James Brown did it all because I've seen
If
him
you're
do it
talking
all,
about
but, I mean,
funk,
is he-
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he has to be one of the pivotal figures. I mean, even though it would seem like it's cliche or too easy to say he did it all, but I mean, really, everyone kind of like took something from James Brown.
Right.
Because he had so many. He would have like at least 3 or 4 different distinct phases of his career.
That's true.
And at each phase, it influenced what was going on in
It's
other
true.
realms of music. From his early days, which were like, that stuff was really big and influential, like on groups like Stones and Beatles and all that stuff. And then he moves into like, doing, more funk kind of things.
It's you know what you can say, and this is what like something that was I can't remember who said this, but was originally said about the Beatles. But I think you can say it about James Brown as well, is that he's a prism that all the music like that before goes into, and all the music that comes after comes out of.
Yeah.
As far as for funk and soul, I think he's at least as important as the Beatles are to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Who else did you say is
for
pivotal?
the same reasons?
Clifton, who else would you say?
In terms of soul, well, yeah, James Brown, the Stax stuff,
Yeah.
Booker T and the MGs, Isaac Hayes, Motown.
Yeah.
I think with Motown too, a lot of it was like the way they approached their music, that kind of assembly line.
Well, again, that's Barry
with, like, the
Gordy.
uniforms
That's
and-
Barry Gordy had a very specific, like, again, like the concept of like making a machine where you had a band that was already in the studio, like they had the band locked down, but it's just like you're gonna run. His jam was finding the person, put it with a band, make the song. It was a factory.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, at the same time,
but-
I think that kind of vibe was just kind of in the air.
Yeah.
Because Phil Spector was doing the same thing.
Yeah, everybody was
and then,
sort of.
in a sense, James Brown did the same thing, except instead of him finding other artists to put them up front and put, building the band around them, he built the band around himself.
Give us another track here. Dealer's Choice. I think we may have to close. We're
This
going
is
to
gonna
close
be
this
this gonna
act
be our
out,
closer.
sir.
So like,
Oh.
Okay. All right. You get 2 more. We get 2 more.
What was before we do the last? What was your question, Matt?
My question is there, because I used to know this, and is there an easy definition of Northern Soul? And does anybody else care about
easy
that?
definition? I mean, the way I think of Northern Soul, most of it is kind of like Motown sound-alikes.
Okay.
Not on Motown.
Okay.
You know, you kind of got like a 4-on-the-floor rhythm.
Okay.
It's usually pretty heavily arranged. There's probably strings.
Okay. And it comes from...
Well, I mean, Northern Soul's from all over.
Okay.
You know, it's not defined regionally
I always
by
thought that was a
US.
British thing.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Well, see,
Sweden.
I guess that's the core of my question.
Finland.
I don't know if it was music that came from the north of England that was soul, or if it was just soul music that's popular in
the north of England.
In the north of England.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's soul music that's popular in the north of England. It was a term that was, I believe it was coined in 1975 by Dave Godin.
Do you have a song for us?
Yes.
All right, let's hear it.
This is not Northern Soul.
Okay.
But since we were talking about James Brown, and this is an African funk track by this group called Orchestra du Baobab. It's kind of like obviously what James Brown was doing was very kind of like very heavily Africanized, kind of a sound.
Like a bee.
And then it just traveled back to Africa and influenced the music back there. So this is a group from Africa that was influenced by the sounds of James Brown.
And is this current music or?
Oh, this is old. This is from, I think, 75, 76.
Okay.
It's a song called Kellen Atilen.
Yeah, that's
we're gonna need to put links up on the site.
Oh yeah,
or at least.
That's amazing. I mean, you can obviously hear the James Brown, but there's just something. There's a whole other level.
Oh yeah,
of that.
I mean that's a great thing about kind of like African funk. It's you can hear like the American influence, but you can hear where they combined it with what's
It's like
going
a snake
on.
eating its own tail. You
Yeah.
know, like it's literally you're talking about influences like cycling itself into itself, like a feedback loop.
Are there big names in African funk that if someone wanted to go digging for African funk, they could start at? Or
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's like Fela Kuti and Sam Kuti.
Yeah.
There's been like some reissues. There's this guy William Onyebor.
Okay.
That there's been a reissue of his stuff. There's a group called the Rail Band. Another group called Orchestra.
There's a ton of really kick-ass shit.
Polyrythmo. Yeah, Orchestra Polyrythmo.
Is that current music or?
Oh, no, it's all old.
It's all
Yeah, there's a lot of killer
70s.
current stuff too.
75,
actually.
76.
Yeah.
I'm
74,
totally
75, 76 is probably like the
golden years.
Okay.
All right, and before we go out of the break, you started at the top of the act with a more modern tune. What's another like more modern track that you think people really ought to be listening to?
Throw on some Bruno Mars for us.
Did you?
something more modern would probably be I have to go with Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is from the first Daptone record. She had recorded for the Desco label before, and then when Desco ended, that's when Gabriel Roth started Daptone.
Yeah.
But this is the first song off her first record for Daptone. It's called "Got a Thing on My Mind."
Oof. Right. It's a monster.
I got a thing on my mind. Sure enough, gonna find it. I got a thing on my mind.
I always feel like one of the defining characteristics of this music is that you cannot keep still during it.
No.
And from about your shoulders all the way up is doing
It's
one
mostly
thing.
your head. You get it in that. You get it right in the chin. Like it puts it right on your chin
and the shoulders.
Yeah.
Chin and shoulders.
From about what the yogis would call the heart chakra, or what other people would just call your chest.
Neck.
By the way, if you ever get a chance, wherever you live out there in internet land, to see Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, there is no amount of money that you can pay that will not be worth it.
No.
One of the best shows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ever.
I remember when I first heard this record, every time she would come through to LA, I would make it a point to go see her because it the best live show I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I'll tell you a cool story when we go.
We're gonna take a little break based on.
right.
We can't top Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, so we are taking a little break. Please fill your mojito up to the top and guzzle
be right
it down
back
because
with,
we'll be right back with
some dick jokes or something to level.
round it out.
Round it out. All right.
Always rounds out with a
here's
dick
some fake
joke.
ads.
Hey, me fella, look here. Seagulls, golden wine cooler, seagulls, golden wine cooler, it's wet and it's dry. Golden wine cooler, my, golden wine cooler, me and the boys, love all the time. Golden wine cooler, it's wet and it's dry. Golden wine cooler.
Is your big complaint about drinking with friends that you're not drinking alone? Do you wish Charles Bukowski had been a little less cheerful? Then maybe Bitter Tears cocktail bitters are for you. Bitter Tears are a small batch cocktail bitters crafted in Los Angeles, California, with formulas made from such flavors as blood orange and cinnamon, tamarind and cacao, or even bacon, peppercorn, and chili. Bitter Tears can be used to enhance the flavor and aroma of any cocktail, straight booze, or even food. Go to www.bittertears.la to find a store near you carrying Bitter Tears. Bitter Tears. You've done something to deserve them.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Army of Drunks Talking Funny Podcast Experience. Our guest is Mr. Clifton James Weaver III, also known as DJ Soft Touch, and this is some Cuban funk, is it not?
Yes, it is. This is actually a cover of the Ides of March Vehicle by a Cuban group called Orquestra Cubano de Música Moderna.
This is a track I may actually have in my library. So
It's on a comp called Si Para Usted, Volume 2.
I don't have that.
Did you ever
Okay.
hear that there was that one Mexican funk compilation? Did I get that from you?
I don't know.
Where did I get
Maybe
that? Somebody
but we are
gave me. Somebody
drinking-
laid. There was a.
There's a whole website devoted to like a guy constantly doing funk from all over the world. And I
Yeah,
forget,
there
like,
was
Oh,
one.
was it on Vampy Soul?
Maybe.
And because I know.
it was all Mexican funk from like the '60s.
Well, I know they did one of all Spanish language funk, and then there was a specific Mexican group called Rabbits and Carrots.
Yeah.
And they reissued, I believe Vampy Soul reissued their LP and reissued an EP that they had done.
I'm going to say this again, too, and I will say this as we leave the show, but go to aquariumdrunkard.com right now and look up Clifton's Corner, because Clifton has all kinds of recommendations for songs you have probably never heard of, but are all really amazing.
There's another. I'll tell you another one that is kind of a little bit more obscure. There's a guy in Hawaii called Aloha Got Soul, Roger Bong. That's been there was a bunch of Hawaiian funk from like the 70s mostly. There's a few guys out there that have been archiving that, but just going and crate digging out there. But that's another one that's a little bit more. Like,
I was actually a couple months ago. I can't remember how, but I had stumbled across some Hawaiian funk online, and
Are there a lot of ukulele in it?
No. It's much more like it's funny because like with a lot of music, like Hawaii is very isolated musically, so like things come in and it comes out the other side weird.
Covered in spam.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
the thing is it borders on cheesy. Like it's real close. Like it's kind of cool, but then it's kind of not cool. But then if you put it on at a party, the party is going to go off.
Yeah.
But there's he's starting to reissue some of the guys that were putting stuff out in the 70s. But yeah, look up Aloha Got Soul.
Yeah, because I was at a thrift store not too long ago, and I found like a huge stack of Hawaiian records from the 70s. And I sat there and just looked them up. I spent like a whole day looking them all up on my phone, trying to hear if there's anything on these records. Because I've been burned before, because I had like a phase where I was like really like kind of into like kiddie funk, like stuff that like kids would either record for their school or. And so I would find like these. I would find like these like school band records. And I remember like buying a bunch of them, thinking there's got to be something on one of them. And it was like the biggest waste of money ever.
And it was $300 for a 45.
I count on other people to do a little bit more of that level of crate digging.
So we've been drinking the mojito, which is Cuban. We've been listening to soul music.
Which is not
Cuban.
Except that one.
Except for
that
what I
one.
just heard. That was it.
And so I've been trying to think of what to do to wrap up. And on the one hand, I had a list of mojito variants and fake mojito variants. And I thought maybe we could guess them. Fojitos. But I don't like that idea. I don't think that goes anywhere. Although, the Frito Bandito mojito had potential.
And the Edgar Allan Mojito had potential as well.
Yeah. The Brojito, I think, had the most potential.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Brojitos before Hojitos.
See?
And then I had a little game lined up where I had a bunch of quotes. Some were from Ernest Hemingway. Some were from James Brown. You had to guess which was which based on the quote. But the problem is that's not that hard.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
Yeah.
But this is one of my favorite James Brown quotes. Hair is the first thing, and teeth the second. Hair and teeth. A man got those two things, he's got it all.
That could have been
That was Ernest Hemingway.
All right,
That was
you're
Ernest
right.
Hemingway.
All right.
How about I hit women? Who said that?
Oh, you know what?
I will hit a bitch. Ernest Hemingway.
I think they both said that.
I think
but
they
I
did.
think what we're going to close, we're going to ask, we're going to put it to the group, and especially Clifton here. Who would win in a fight? This is a game we've played before, but this has got a sort of soul/Cuban bent to it. So, for example, number one, who would win in a fight? James Brown versus Fidel Castro.
At what age? In their prime?
Prime James Brown versus prime Fidel Castro.
I'm going with Fidel.
Think so?
I'm going with James.
You going with James?
I'm going James.
He bites.
He's hardworking.
Hardest working
He's
man in show
hardworking.
business. He's got endurance, man. He can do a 3-hour show.
I feel like
without
he's got
batting
a
an eye.
glass jaw, though. I don't know why.
I don't know.
I feel
Fidel's
like
got
he was
the
too
weight of
pretty.
it.
I feel like Fidel had a. I don't know. That's a tough one.
All right. Okay.
I saw in the movie, they had him blindfolded as a kid, beating up other kids. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Fidel did that too. He did that. He's still doing that right now, actually.
I don't know. Every time James falls over, he's going to get up, and a guy's going to put a robe around him. But then he's going to keep
kicks
going.
your ass some more.
He's
Yeah.
going to keep going. That's James Brown. My money's on James Brown. But Katie, what do you think?
Oh, gosh.
You don't care.
I don't care.
All right, Matt, do you care?
No, not
Okay,
really.
good. All right. Okay, now George Clinton versus Ernest Hemingway. But Hemingway has had 4 mojitos, and George Clinton has smoked, I don't know, half a bag of crack.
How big a bag are we talking about? Like grocery bag?
Not a grocery
Dime bag?
I don't. For him, I don't know.
I don't know.
Hemingway or
I don't know.
George Clinton.
Hemingway probably got in a lot more fights.
I think Clinton's a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
I heard he
like-
has soft hands.
He's got soft hands. I know he's got soft hands.
Word on the
Pillowy
street.
soft hands.
Yeah, and he likes women. Okay, the Pips versus the Supremes. There's nothing Cuban in here. However, the Pips have been trained in jiu-jitsu, but the Supremes has spent a year in the finest ninja dojo in Japan. All right, we don't care.
Oh, that's
Supreme.
tough. That's-
How about
Does Gladys Knight not get a piece of this?
That's a good question.
Che Guevara versus Ike Turner?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait.
Go ahead and hit pause and let's talk that
All
one
right,
out.
hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on,
Che
hang on.
Guevara, Ike Turner.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing.
That's a decision
That
fight.
one's going to go for a lot of rounds.
Yeah.
That's going to
No,
be a
no, no,
decision
no, no.
fight. You're
That's a
I'm
absolutely
going to go
right.
over this.
There won't be a
Che
knockout.
has been trained in the jungles to kill. Ike's only good at hitting women.
It's true.
That's true. Yeah.
Doesn't make him tough, man. Just because you beat. Well, actually, Tina Turner, she's
She's a
pretty
fairly
tough.
Yeah.
substantial woman.
I wouldn't want to pick a fight with Tina.
No.
Turner.
No, Tina Turner beat your ass,
Tina
dude.
Turner
That's
would
true.
beat the shit out of you.
Okay, no. It's an
Now,
open
Tina
question.
Turner could beat your ass right now.
Oh, I know, and she's like 70. You have opinion on this, Clifton? No opinion.
Ike versus Shay.
Ike versus Shay.
That's a good one. The pay-per-view rights on that alone are amazing.
I'd go with Ike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I just feel like, Shay
feel
might
like-
have been trained to kill, but he actually didn't do much of his own killing.
Right.
That's true.
And I think
Yeah,
Ike's
other
got him
people
on
do-
reach.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
that's a good point.
Absolutely. But Shay's on more T-shirts.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like Ike survived the South in the 40s
Yeah.
and 50s. So
Yeah, they both came apart. I think that's the thing with the Cubans. They came apart too.
yeah.
So
All right. This is the last one. Berry Gordy, founder of Motown, in a robot tank versus RoboCop. But RoboCop has been programmed to play Marvin Gaye music in his head, which makes him more docile.
Does he have a...
Wait, what's he playing in his head?
Barry's in a tank.
There's not
like
a directive
Iron Man
for...
suit?
It's like imagine like an Iron Man suit, but like the bottom half is all treads.
Like treads.
Okay. And then versus RoboCop, but he's got what's going on going in his head. What's going on?
I think that puts him in a natural disadvantage.
I think it probably does. There's not going to be... That is his directive for in this capacity,
I don't feel
right?
he needs to be emotionally affected by that music. He's RoboCop.
How emotionally affected is he?
Yeah.
I'm going with RoboCop.
You think
Go with
RoboCop's gonna be
RoboCop.
Barry Gordy?
He's going to be a little more nimble. Yeah.
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 Oh, and Marvin and Barry didn't get along, so
Right.
maybe listening to Marvin Gaye will actually
Enrage him.
give him the impetus to
You're right.
Whatever he needs. Yes. Yeah.
You're right.
I think
To
that's
do
very
away
good-
with Barry
very
Gordy.
good point.
Decision RoboCop.
Decision RoboCop. Well, on that note,
This has been the
we're
Army
starting to
of
wrap
Drunk.
this up. Before we go, first of all, Clifton, if
You got to plug
you're obviously on Aquarium Drunkard.
Aquarium Drunkard, Clifton's Corner, Snap, Crackle, and Bop on the Punk Aristocrat site, as well as a streaming show called Jump and Dance on Punk Aristocrats Radio 1.
Which is pretty awesome. I've listened to it.
Every Saturday at the Echo, do Funky Soul from 10 to 2.
Right on.
And Mondays from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m., I'm at the Standard in downtown LA.
And if do you have an official website, or just find you on Facebook? Or
Just find me on Facebook. Actually, I have a night that's been on hiatus that's coming back, a night called Club Rubbish. We're coming back at the Shortstop. We're going to be third Wednesdays at the Shortstop.
You know, you are like the hardest working DJ in LA.
You gotta be.
Yeah.
You gotta be. If you're not gonna actually work, you gotta work.
Yeah. Katie, what are you going to plug here? You have
Oh, gosh.
Long Island Life Hacks.
Yes, I have a web series that is, well, we're shopping around right now. It's called Long Island Life Hacks. And I'm doing shows all over town. You can, one at the Clown House, everybody.
You're gonna say Joe's Clown Room.
You're totally going to say
One
the
at-
clown
Gotta
room.
be in the
Got
Clown
about
House.
6 or 7 sets a night on Wednesday.
Now you should just this code for like when your husband's
I am
mad
the
at
hardest working woman in show business.
you. Katie's in the Clown House
I have a
again.
show coming up at Akbar and Silver Lake, but you can check it all out at kdmassa.com.
Okay. And Buck, Gentlemen Callers. You just came back from Electric Forest. You're recovering.
Yeah, we had nothing till the Burning Man Festival.
All right.
And
All the
then,
hippie brouhaha.
probably Europe or something in the end of the
all
year.
right, so
you're not going to
Look
any
for
of
you
these
in
shits.
Paris and Luxembourg. Matt, I hear you're playing the chortle hole.
I got nothing. I'm going to be going to work, and then since my work is right by the Standard, I'll probably be swinging by there on Monday
Matt will
night.
be taking
so.
in some
Thank you.
British TV at home and a couple cocktails.
Yeah,
Pretty
and,
much.
Mixmaster Therm, thank you to you. Oh, myself, issue 2 of the Invader Zim comic was, if maybe out or out soon, which I
is it-
wrote on.
The first one's out.
First one's out. Issue 2 is coming out soon, and then issue 3 is a little story I wrote myself, along with a little help from Jonan. So that'll be coming out soon, and we've all plugged our shit.
Yeah.
So
So there's no shit leaking anywhere now.
no,
Nope.
And
We're all plugged up.
Would you like to play us out on a song? You don't have to.
Sure.
We've got a theme, but what you play is something they probably
Probably
haven't
better
heard.
than our theme.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, they've heard our theme 1,000
Thanks everybody
times.
for tuning in again.
We
We'll do
appreciate it.
Yep.
We'll catch you on the next
And
one.
remember, from Hell's Heart,
We stab at thee.
good night.
Hey, everybody, you've been listening to another Army of Drunks Talking Funny podcast sack of happy clown parts. This is the part where I'm supposed to say stuff, but I'd rather listen to the music. So, Outlaw Soap, Bitter Tears, Drunk Mail at armyofdrunks.net, Facebook. You know the drill. Good night. Copyright 2015, Army of Drunks.